In this presentation, we are going to go over modern journalism and one specific type of modern journalism called creative journalism. Back in lesson 21 of this course, you discussed what makes good quality journalism. The aspects of quality journalism were decided to be: first, the report is accurate and complete. There are no missing pieces of information, and the information that is presented is correct. Next, the report covers a significant topic. It is something that is important for the people reading it. Thirdly, the report is written in a clear and direct way. It is not misleading, and it is easy for people to follow. Fourth, the report is grammatically correct and stylistically appealing. That means that all the grammar and the punctuation are correct, as well as it looks nice and is easy to follow. Next, interviews are conducted with courtesy and honesty. When the reporter got the information for the piece of journalism, they interviewed people. And when they did this, quality journalists will have done their interviews with courtesy and honesty. Next, background research is comprehensive. The reporter, before writing the piece, has done as much background research as is needed to know the complete picture of the story and give it to you, the reader. Next to last, the journalist is not influenced by outside forces such as government or advertising. We want to make sure that our news is completely accurate and unbiased and isn't going to make us think what the government or advertisers want us to think. Lastly, the report appeals to readers' interests. It is something that the readers want to read. There are many types of journalism. Short, just the facts articles. These might be like, on Monday, there was a shooting at the mall and it involved these people. However, there might also be longer investigative forms of journalism, like where if there was a shooting at the mall, they would investigate what the causes are and give some hypotheses about how to fix them. These are also in radio, where it's the same investigative and just the facts journalism. There's lots of TV news, there's long TV programs, and there are nonfiction books. All of these above genres should keep the aspects of quality journalism. However, they might do this in different forms and ways. So, in lesson 21, you discussed the inverted pyramid way of telling the story in a piece of journalism. If you remember, you can look at this little triangle if you don't, and if you do. So, an inverted pyramid, the way you tell the story is you put the most newsworthy info at the beginning. Then you lead on with the important details, and finally at the end, you have other general info and background info. However, we're going to go over journalism that would be in narrative form. Now, if you remember, narrative means telling a story. So narrative journalism goes in chronological order. It's just like a story. In narrative journalism, there's going to be a beginning, a middle, and an end to the story. This is just like a plot in fiction. There are going to be characters, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be dialogue, and there's going to be theme. Now, you might be thinking that this is just like a fictional story. You're correct, except that this is going to be nonfiction. In this lesson, you're going to be reading an excerpt from a book titled The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. This is a piece of journalism that is written in narrative form, like a story. It is an example of a modern journalistic genre called creative nonfiction. Creative nonfiction is a genre in which all the facts are accurate and verifiable. That means that people can go check to see that they are true. However, these facts are presented in a creative way that emphasizes storytelling through the use of things like scenes, dialogue, and other techniques more often found in fiction. So while reading this book, it's going to feel like you're reading a fictional story. However, it is true. A journalist uses primary and secondary sources to get their information, including interviews, other news articles, and first-hand experience. However, how can a journalist hold themselves to our standard of quality journalism of being accurate and complete when trying to recreate dialogue between two people who have died in their creative nonfiction piece? How can a journalist conduct interviews about events that have happened when there is no one left to interview if they are writing a creative nonfiction piece about things from 50, 100, or 200 years ago. This is where the genre of creative journalism comes in. The author, Rebecca Sloot, states, quote, "The immortal life of Henrietta Lacks is a work of nonfiction. No names have been changed, no characters invented, no events fabricated," end quote. However, don't take that to mean that every single word of dialogue or every action of a character is exact. The story is meant to tell the truth, but it still has some characteristics of fiction.